In 1932, Australia witnessed one of the strangest wars in human history. This was not a war against another country, nor was it a conflict between political groups. Instead, it was a war against a bird, a large flightless bird known as the emu. Surprisingly, this bird managed to embarrass the Australian military and became a symbol of one of the most unusual military failures ever recorded. Welcome to Mr. TV to understand how this strange war started. We need to go back to the period. After World War I, the world was facing a severe economic crisis known as the Great Depression. Countries across the globe were struggling with unemployment, poverty, and falling markets. Australia was also deeply affected by this economic disaster. During this time, Australian farmers were suffering greatly. Crop prices had dropped to extremely low levels. Farmers were working hard, but they were unable to earn enough money to cover their basic expenses. Many farms were on the verge of collapse, and the country feared a massive food shortage in the future. To control this crisis, the Australian government decided to increase wheat production. The government approached farmers and promised to buy wheat at good prices to support them financially. Farmers trusted the government and began planting wheat across large areas, especially in Western Australia. Months later, when the wheat crops were ready for harvest, the farmers expected the government to fulfill its promise. However, the government suddenly offered much lower prices than previously promised. This decision shocked farmers and caused widespread anger. In protest, many farmers refused to harvest their crops. They believed that if they did not sell wheat, the government would eventually be forced to increase the price. The government assumed that insects or natural damage would destroy the crops and pressure farmers into selling wheat cheaply. However, the government had no idea that nature was about to create an even bigger disaster. Around the same time, emus were completing their breeding season. Emus are large, flightless birds native to Australia. They can grow up to 5.5 feet tall and weigh around 45 kilograms. These birds are known for their strong legs and incredible speed. Emus can run as fast as 70 kilometers per hour, making them extremely difficult to catch. After their breeding season, emus naturally migrate from inland regions toward coastal areas in search of food and water. During this migration in 1932, approximately 20,000 emus discovered the wheat farms in Western Australia. For the emus, these wheat fields were like a massive buffet. The birds began entering farms in large numbers and started eating crops rapidly. Each emu could consume around 2 kilograms of food daily. When thousands of emus gathered together, they could destroy entire fields within days. Farmers initially tried to drive the birds away using traditional methods like making loud noises, chasing them, and setting up simple barriers. But nothing worked. The emus continued to return in larger groups and destroyed crops faster than farmers could protect them. Within just a few weeks, nearly 350 acres of farmland were completely destroyed. Farmers were desperate and demanded urgent help from the government. The Australian government realized that the situation was becoming extremely serious. If the wheat crops were destroyed, the country would face major economic and food supply problems. After discussions and planning, the government made a shocking decision. They decided to involve the military, the Australian military, which had recently returned from World War I, was assigned the task of eliminating the emu population threatening farmland. Soldiers believed this would be an easy mission. After all, they had fought trained enemy armies. Defeating birds seemed like a simple task. The media later named this unusual operation the Great Emu War. The government deployed soldiers equipped with machine guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. The soldiers were sent to Western Australia with confidence and high expectations. However, the mission quickly became far more difficult than anyone imagined. Before the operation could begin properly, heavy rainfall hit Western Australia. The rain caused the emus to spread across vast areas, making them harder to locate and target. Due to these conditions, the military delayed the operation for almost 1 month. Finally, on November 2, 1932, soldiers received information about emus near a village called Campion. Soldiers moved quickly to the location. Local villagers tried to help by throwing stones at the emus to gather them into one place. However, instead of gathering, the birds scattered in different directions. The soldiers opened fire. But due to the emu's incredible speed and unpredictable movement, only 5 to 7 birds were killed. The rest escaped easily. The first military attack ended in complete failure. Determined to succeed, soldiers tried a new strategy a few days later. They decided to set ambush traps in wheat fields. They hid quietly and waited for the emus to approach closer. This time, nearly 1,000 emus entered the fields. Soldiers opened fire immediately, but suddenly, disaster struck. The machine gun jammed after killing only a few dozen birds. Before soldiers could fix the weapon, the remaining emus escaped once again. The military launched another attempt, this time moving further south of Campion, where even larger groups of emus had been spotted. During this operation, soldiers noticed something surprising about the emus' behavior. The birds were moving in organized groups, and each group appeared to have a leader. While the rest of the birds focused on eating crops, the leader stayed alert and watched for danger. Whenever soldiers approached, the leader signaled the group. The birds quickly escaped. Frustrated by repeated failures, the soldiers decided to change their strategy once again, installed machine guns on military vehicles, and attempted to chase the emus while firing continuously. However, this plan also failed. The farmland terrain was rough and uneven, making it extremely difficult for soldiers to aim accurately while moving. Thousands of bullets were fired, but only a small number of birds were killed. During one chase, an emu even collided with a military vehicle, causing it to crash into bushes and forcing soldiers to abandon the attempt. After firing approximately 2,000 rounds of ammunition, soldiers managed to kill only around 200 emus. This result was extremely disappointing. The military temporarily paused the operation. After some time, they attempted another attack. This time, soldiers managed to kill approximately 1,000 emus. However, they used nearly 10,000 bullets to achieve this result. On average, 10 bullets were required to kill a single bird. When news of this operation reached the Australian Parliament, politicians openly criticized the military. Some politicians even joked that medals should be awarded to the emus for successfully dodging bullets. The operation had cost a large amount of money. The results were still extremely poor. Out of approximately 20,000 emus, only about 1,000 were killed. Eventually, the Australian government decided to cancel the military operation. In a strange way, the emus had won the war. Over the following years, the emu population continued to grow, and farmers continued to face losses. The government introduced a new strategy. Instead of using the military, they distributed weapons to farmers and introduced a bounty system. Farmers were paid rewards for killing emus. This strategy worked more effectively. By 1934, farmers had filed approximately 57,000 bounty claims within just 6 months. However, international media and animal rights organizations strongly criticized this program. Due to global pressure, the Australian government eventually ended the bounty system as well. Today, Australia has an estimated emu population of between 600,000 and 700,000 birds. Farmers now use strong fencing around their fields to protect crops from wildlife. This has become a common farming practice across the country. Although farmers no longer face destruction on the scale seen in 1932. The Great Emu War remains one of the most unusual conflicts in human history. It serves as a reminder that nature can sometimes be more powerful and unpredictable than even trained military forces. The story of the Great Emu War continues to fascinate historians, wildlife experts, and military analysts around the world. It highlights the importance of understanding nature instead of trying to control it using force alone. We hope you enjoyed this historical story on MRTV. Thank you for your support and love. See you in the next amazing video.